Hello!
Hello there.
Welcome.
If everything sounds a bit weird today, we're locked away in the depths of the Doctor Who Time and Space Studios.
Yes, we are.
And this is Doctor Who Time and Space.
Yes, welcome.
I'm Deagle.
I'm Lewis Moon.
What do we have in store today, Mr. Moon?
We have lots in store today.
Oh.
We have Judge My Tenure on most people's favourite Doctor, Tom Baker.
Certainly my favourite.
We have our review of the 10th Doctor classic, Waters of Mars.
And it's a classic, that is right. We have news.
We pressed the randomizer again.
We do. We also have quiz or question this week.
The return of the quiz or question.
Return of quiz or question. And that's probably about that's enough for anyone to get the teeth into, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're only here for an hour, for goodness sake.
I know.
So would you like to kick off with the news?
Yes, let's go on with our remember last week when we did Doctor of the Decade?
Ah, yes.
I don't think we did this one.
So this is where this is on Doctor Who TV, where there's a bit of a sort of a fight off between each of the new Who Doctors, yeah? Presumably to look at the end of who's the best.
I don't think we did this one.
I don't think we did, no.
No. Okay, so the 10th Doctor versus the 9th Doctor.
Okay, it's an easy one for me. It'd be the 9th Doctor.
Yeah.
What about yourself? I'm not sure you think the same, do you?
No, this is an easy one for me. 10th Doctor. I mean, I love the 9th Doctor. He's a great Doctor, and he brought back Doctor Who, but just seeing David Tennant in, for example, Waters of Mars, he's such a good Doctor, but sometimes he has a downside, like some points of Gale in the Fireplace when he's a bit foppish.
Yeah. Well, we'll get on to Waters of Mars later on, but I liked him in that. And as you know, I often don't like him in things, but it's still. And although actually some of my favourite New Who stories are actually 10th Doctor ones.
Yeah.
But
Blink, Midnight, Family of Blood.
Yeah. And I think if you were to take the best episodes, there's more great episodes with David Tennant than there is with Christopher Eccleston. But that's because Christopher Eccleston only had one series and David Tennant had 3.5. It is large, because I guess you could also say there's more rubbish David Tennant ones.
Yeah, there is.
So, what do people have to say about it? What's the general view?
9, as he regenerated the show into what it has become today. I wouldn't love all the Doctors if it wasn't for 9. He was my first Doctor that inspired me to watch it. Loved the anger in the Dalek episode. Well, David Tennant was my first Doctor. Maybe that's why I like him.
It could be that, couldn't it? That could be,
maybe that's why you like Tom Baker so much.
Yeah, definitely.
But everyone likes Tom Baker.
Everybody loves Tom Baker. What year did Tom Baker start?
1974.
So actually, I was born in the time of John Pertwee, but I would have only been very giddy, so I won't remember it. So yes, Tom Baker's my Doctor. But anyway, we'll get on to that later.
The 10th Doctor, without a doubt. I watched all the Doctors, and to me, he is the best ever. Not just of the New Who. 9, easy. Series 1 never clicked much for me. Luckily, I was intrigued enough to continue, but 9 and Rose were very uninteresting characters to me. I really didn't like Eccleston's portrayal of the character. Then everything changed once Tennant came in. I saw just how likeable the Doctor can be. Not my favourite, but this one easily goes to 10, IMO. I've chosen Tennant until Big Finish gets the right or there's a novel out. Eccleston still don't feel 100% complete until he faced the Cybermen at least once. I mean, he's 95% to me. 9th was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But I vote for Incredible 10th. 9th was my first, but I fell in love with Doctor Who because Doctors of 10. Dave, you get my vote. And finally, this is actually impossible. Oh, wait. Alonzi! Huge grin.
Yeah, I think the thing is, for every one of us that isn't very keen on David Tennant, there's another two that absolutely love him, isn't there?
I think there's a very mixed opinion on him.
Yeah, that could be the case. So, do we have more news, sir?
Yes.
Figuring we probably do.
Moffat on Series 9, Capaldi, two-parters Missy. Stephen Moffat has talked a little about how Series 9 is shaping up in a new interview today. Speaking to Digital Spy, he said, "The thrilling thing about it is you are getting to see that second series Capaldi performance, which is quite stunning, actually. There is something that happens when the part becomes theirs. It happened with Matt. It happened with David. He's just on amazing form at the moment." I was looking at some of his first series and just thinking it's magnificent, but it's nothing like what he's doing now. There's always a feeling when a new Doctor comes in, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But you think that Peter Capaldi is the Doctor. Now it's just the Doctor. He can be more madcap. He can do all the things. He's no longer worried about being like Matt or anything. It's just different. It's just more. He also talks about bringing back two-parters. It's more about messing around a bit with how much of the plot will be done in 45 minutes. Clara's journey this series, it's very pronounced. She continues to complicate. And Missy, the Doctor's best friend, is a murdering psychopath. What are we going to do about that? You can see the full video in the show notes on our website, and you can see a video with Derek Ritchie giving us a brief update about the girl who died and the woman who lived filming.
So who's David Ritchie?
Derek. Yeah, he's the director of one of the stories.
Okay.
I don't know which one.
I'll tell you what, that's quite an interesting article, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm loving the idea of Peter Capaldi really coming into his own. Because I think he did anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, he did.
But I know where they're coming from. It takes more than one series, really, for people to really believe it's the Doctor and not the new Doctor.
I don't know how he's going to improve, though, because he can't improve because he was so good last series.
Surely not, but you can't argue with what Moffat says.
No, Moffat.
That's what he
the
says.
The Moff Master.
That's what he says. That's what he says.
I like Moffat.
Yeah. So keeping up with the news.
Yes, Doctor of the Decade. Hurt or Capaldi? Easy one for me.
Yeah, it's got to be Capaldi. Yes. I think actually if Hurt had a lot more episodes, he'd put up a really good fight. I have little doubt that he would be my next favourite New Who Doctor if he had enough. So
you mean he would be second favourite, or do you mean he'd be? He'd
be my second favourite to Capaldi, I think.
In real now, or
in terms of if he had more airtime, I don't think you can really class him as a great with about 20 minutes airtime or whatever he had.
Do you think Eccleston would have been better in the second series? And do you think if Eccleston was in series 2, do you think he would have had the same stories as series 2?
Well, yeah, because I mean, if he had, he wouldn't have had a great series, would he? Because series 2 isn't as good, is it? It's not as strong. Apart
from Impossible Planet and the Army of Ghosts.
Yeah.
And School Reunion.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
100 comments exactly.
Okay.
God, the cameo Doctor against the Doctor who's still yet to make an impression. War Doctor, it is at least. It was only one episode. Voted for 12. Unfortunately, the War Doctor made no impression on me, as lovely and talented as John Hurt is.
Mm.
For me, the choice is easy. 10 is my favourite, but 12 beats War. War Doctor. I don't like 12. This one was even harder than War versus 11. But since I did give her a 10 and Capaldi only an 8, I'll go with her. It really is difficult to vote for someone who's only done one episode, even if I do like him more. Doctor TV must really hate the War Doctor. Very few people are going to choose him, which is unfair because he was great. He wasn't Eccleston though. Captain Grumpy by a nose. Sorry, War Doctor, but I had to vote for the 12th Doctor, as he is my favourite Doctor. And finally, whatever happens, an awesome Doctor will come first, and an awesome Doctor will come last, and all the Doctors in between will be awesome.
Interesting. So, where does that take us to? Do we still have more of these?
Yes, we do in a minute.
Now, this next piece of news is quite interesting because we talked last week, I think,
Yes.
or the week before, I think it was last week,
Yeah, it was
about
last
whether
week.
or not we would ever see a Doctor Who movie. And in the meantime, we get a little bit of news.
Yes, Stephen Moffat has responded
Okay.
on the news last week of Sony, the leaked Sony emails on the Doctor Who movie.
Okay.
He's told the Radio Times, you can't make a movie that damages the TV series. That's the only thing I'd say about it. I'm very happy for there to be a movie. Very happy for there to be a theatre show. Anything you like. But a TV show is incredibly important and must not be hurt. Everyone knows that. Well, John Hurt appeared in it.
I was just about to make a John Hurt quip myself, actually.
Asked whether he would like to see the film eventually happen, Moffat replied, if someone can work out how a movie actually works, I've got nothing against it. But no one's ever been very clear about how it actually works. It's not really got that far, and it's not my job. I can neither action it nor stop it.
Okay.
We haven't really, to be honest, got an answer to it. All this story is nothing. There's not been a story for years. I'm sure there's money to be made out of it, but that's not the point, is it? We are British, the BBC. We are there for the art.
Bam, bam, bam. The Beeb. The good old Beeb. Okay, that was interesting to see his comments on it, wasn't it?
It was.
So I was trying to think, so on last week's show, did we actually reveal the leak, did we? The same
Yeah,
leak?
we
Okay, I couldn't
revealed
remember
it.
whether that was this week or whether that was the week before that news had come out.
No, we revealed the leak last week because it was out by... When it was out now?
It was ironic though, wasn't it? Because the week before that, we'd been talking about whether or not we wanted to see a movie.
Yeah.
So it was quite funny timing.
I think there was some sort of quiz or question on it.
Yeah, I think it might have been actually, yeah. Probably by somebody in Sony.
Doctor of the Decade, Face Off 8.
Okay.
Tennant versus Matt Smith.
Matt Smith.
Me too.
Easily.
Not easily. It is, though.
Yeah.
But by now, you know, Peter Capaldi and Matt Smith are joint first. And Tennant is third.
Where do you have interest? Where do you think the order's going to be when this finishes? Because I think David Tennant may well come top, but I think also he would also be a lot of people's least favourite.
I think Eccleston will come near the top as well, judging by the... But I think for some reason, judging on the comments, Capaldi will come in the middle.
Yeah. I think what is quite clear is a lot of people sort of say that it was at its most popular in terms of ratings when David Tennant was there.
Yeah.
But it was also at its most family friendly at that
Yeah, it
stage,
was.
and I think that's probably the reason. is it was a very, very family-friendly show at that point.
Hmm.
Do we have some more news?
I was going to read the comments.
Okay. Can I leave you to read those out quickly whilst I do something?
Yeah.
I'll leave you a few seconds. I shall return.
Okay. See you in a second.
See you in a second.
Ah.
Out to the studio, go.
See you. Have to say Tennant, as I felt he had more of a variety of characters surrounding him. With Matt Smith, I felt it was too much centred on Amy Pond and Rory and River Song. So by a whisker of hair on their heads, 10 for me. Tough choice. They're both brilliant, but I had to go with Matt Smith. John Pertwee was my first Doctor. Tom Baker was my favourite classic Who from childhood, but David Tennant is my Doctor. It's too hard to choose. I loved them both equally, not voting. My rankings of the new Who Doctors: Matt, Chris, David, John, Capaldi. John says tough to rate him higher on one episode, and Capaldi, sorry Capaldi, your Doctor just doesn't quite work for me. Oh, this is interesting. I was just reading out this order.
Yes.
And it's come out as Matt,
Okay.
Chris. This is just someone commenting.
Okay.
They say Matt, Chris, David, John, Capaldi.
They have Capaldi bottom.
Hmm.
I do think I think Capaldi's Doctor, in the same way, in many respects, as David Tennant's, will divide opinion.
Yeah.
And it depends which sort you like. I think the people that like David Tennant probably won't like Capaldi's, and vice versa.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. For what it's
But I
worth.
like both of them.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
There's no Doctor which I really don't like, but
Yeah.
10 definitely. One of the many problems I had with 11 was that on paper he was too similar to 10, but because the actor's portrayal wasn't to my liking, he didn't work for me. And finally, I think it's time for the rise of the 11.
I actually think that the comment they made there was quite a fair one. I think the 10th and 11th Doctors are quite similar, but I think Matt Smith did it a lot better
Yeah.
because he kept that light-hearted tone, but he did it without being annoying.
Yeah. Now I forgot to talk about this.
Okay.
The BBC have released an official image teasing an intriguing new monster for Series 9.
Ooh.
This will appear in Block 3, Episodes 5 and 6. They
Okay.
tweeted, "What's that in the shadows? New monster about to meet Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman." So Jenna Coleman's still in it in Episode 5 and 6.
Okay.
Definitely.
So we know that much. Can you describe for us this new monster? What does it look like?
Well, first of all, we had two pictures. One which was shrouded in lots of darkness,
Okay.
which sort of has a
That was
red...
the one I saw, I think.
Yeah. And then there was this one with the director
Oh, I've not seen that one.
Ed Bazalgette.
So it looks like a sort of a. Well, the first one, it looked a bit like a big box. But actually, this one looks more like some sort of robotic crustacean.
Yeah, but I think the thing that it means is that,
Hmm. Yeah.
not that. That.
So how would you describe this? Do you think
Well,
a
it's got
robot crab is
It's got a gun in its
Hmm.
hand. I was trying to describe the shape. I can't really.
robot crab?
Yeah.
It looks like to me.
With I bet he's played by that guy who played Spencer Wilding, the guy who plays all the big strong people.
Do you think? Do we know what episode this is from? Do we know much about the
Girl
episode?
Who Died or The Woman Who Lived.
Okay, all right. I just want to know that too. So that's the ones that are done by. That's the one with Macy, isn't it?
Yeah, she's in The Woman Who Lived.
Okay.
I think this must be in The Girl Who Died because I think Ed Bazalgette is doing Girl Who Died.
So these are one-parters, are they?
I think so.
Okay.
But the thing is, it says new monster meeting them in episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah,
but
but I reckon there's going to be I think there'll be two separate standalone stories. I think they're going to be really close because of the names. I think they're going to be really closely tied. I'm sure they're going to involve the same characters at a different time zone.
yeah,
I thought.
I think so. Yeah.
Do we have any other news at all?
So I think the girl who died will be like the young version.
Yeah.
And the woman who lived will be Maisie Williams.
Yeah.
Mm.
Could well be. Could well be.
Wonder what her character's called. Been chatting about this for weeks, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
It's been filming for 5 weeks. This block.
I'm really excited about it because, like I said to you before, she's a brilliant little actress. She really is good. She's in Game of Thrones. She's one of the best characters.
Ooh,
So
I'm excited then.
yeah, I mean it's obviously a different sort of thing, but she's really good, really good.
Now, this is one I'd be interested to find out what you think.
Okay.
And I think I know the answer.
Okay.
But Doctor of the Decade,
All right.
Eccleston,
Yeah.
or Hurt?
Hurt.
Oh, I was wrong then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's possibly a little bit unfair because, like we said earlier on, we've only seen him for 20 minutes or something like that within an episode. If you put together all his airtime, it's probably only about 20 minutes, half an hour at most, isn't it? I just love John Hurt. Yeah, I'm probably biased here. I just really love John Hurt.
Did you say David Tennant was? Did you say John Hurt was better than David Tennant last week?
Yes. I would have done. I can't remember saying it, but I would have done.
But I'd say the opposite to you.
Yeah.
Christopher Eccleston. Now,
I think most people will because I think it's probably I've got a little bit of bias. I think there. It's just really off my love for John Hurt. I think.
Yeah, I know he is such a lovely and great actor, but Eccleston was in it more and got more of a chance.
What I would say is that if we were to go back to when we first started this podcast, I wasn't really very keen on Eccleston's Doctor, and he's grown on me a lot. The more we've watched him, the more it's grown on me, and he feels more of a Doctor now than he ever did.
Well, since we've watched Rose and Dalek again, have you felt?
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
Should we do a comment?
Yes, a few comments.
The Ninth Doctor, no question about it. The problem was we didn't get to see enough of either of them. Sure, 9 stayed for a full series and War was given more character and Engines of War, but we needed more appearances from both 9 and War. The War was quite good Doctor, but the 9th was absolutely fantastic, so it's the 9th for me. The 9th Doctor, more War than the War Doctor. He gets my vote. Definitely the War Doctor. One problem I have with the 9th Doctor is that I never convinced he was traumatized warrior by being so smiling and energetic. Just look at Beantown, for example. Eccleston did a better job as a tortured soldier in the others.
Do you know, I've actually seen, so he's quite a famous actor, Christopher Eccleston. I've not actually seen him in anything else.
Haven't you?
No.
A fantastic win by the 9th Doctor, War Doctor, and finally, obviously, 9. War was likeable, but his run was too short compared to 9.
I think that is the reason why the War Doctor will come bottom. It's just purely because of the limited run that he had.
Yeah, I do think that as well. I just want to do another bit of news to link with.
That is quite good because in about 3 minutes I've got to quickly go and do something. Because we could, just to explain that, I'm not running away because I hate war. We're cooking at the same time, so
then it will be just bad timing. If you,
probably will.
It will be really bad timing because I'll ask you to vote. Can you do it when I've asked you to vote for the Doctor of the Decade?
Yeah, we're doing it right. But that's why I just popped out, and I've got to pop out one more time. I think I've worked out maybe twice, but so I should be quick about it.
So last week we talked about Eccleston having no ill feeling towards Doctor Who. An update.
An update. Ooh.
Eccleston participated in another couple of interviews released this weekend where he spoke about leaving the role. In the Daily Record, he explained, "I've had enough. I wanted to do it my way. They wanted something else. We were never going to compromise, so it was best to be straight about it and just go." On BBC Radio 4, meanwhile, myself and 3 individuals at the very top of the pyramid clashed, so off I went. But they're not here to say their side of it, so I'm not going to go into detail. He adds, "I don't think it's important why I left. I think it's important that I did it in the first place. I'm always there in spirit."
So it sounds like he obviously had a bit of a clash with certainly Russell T Davies about the direction that the series was going in.
Yeah.
Perhaps he read the skits, but fear me, fear.
Oh, no. Capaldi or Smith?
Capaldi or Smith? It's Capaldi for me. It's my closest of them.
It's my closest as well.
Who would you actually go for, though?
I don't know.
Yeah. You're lucky
I'd
that I'm
just
here to
leave
vote.
it. I'd just leave it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually vote. 'Cause
I
there have been some when people have been saying, "I'm not going to vote."
yeah. I think so. To me, I really like Matt Smith. There's times he was a little bit, he was a bit OTT, but I really liked his portrayal. It reminded me very much of Patrick Troughton, in the same way that Peter Capaldi's got a slither of Tom Baker in him.
Just a
I
slight.
think, just a very slight bit. I think probably Matt Smith had a slither of Patrick Troughton. So I quickly go and do what I've got to do whilst you're reading
I'll
some
read
comments
the
out.
comments.
Okay.
And you go and do what you want.
What I've got to do. Where should we turn?
Easily 11. Certainly 12. There was quite a few bad episodes in the 11th era. Capaldi, but it's very close. Has to be Peter Capaldi. The Bow-Tie Doctor versus the Hoodie Doctor. Difficult choice. Difficult. Ultimately, I voted 11. He was my second favourite Doctor after Eccleston. That said, I've always thought 11 and 12 were very similar in terms of personality. Certainly more similar than 11 and 10. No. 11. And in the end, it was a good story. The 2 best of the best. I do think Capaldi is nudged ahead of Matt because his first year was so extraordinarily strong, but voted for Matt here simply because he's a complete sweetheart in real life as well as a fantastic actor. Since these 2 will be in the final too, I'll save my vote for Peter next week. Sorry, Matt. 11. He grew on me eventually. 12. Hasn't. Someone asked. May I ask why not? And finally, if someone had asked me this question before Series 8, my answer would still be the same as it is now. 12 all the way. I could never warm to Matt Smith's incarnation. Peter's made me feel excited about the show again from the very first episode. So yeah, he's helped restore my faith in the show. Go Capaldi!
Can I ask you something?
Mm.
Do you think those people that haven't warmed to Peter Capaldi, do you think there's any chance that they can? Or do you believe that his portrayal is one that if it alienates, it's always going to alienate? And he is an alien, so he's allowed to alienate.
Yeah.
That's what aliens do.
I don't know about that.
Ooh. I mean, I think people might warm to him more when they get used to him, but I think people will like him or they won't like him. I think he's that sort of Doctor.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, what's next on this show? Because there are plenty.
Judge my tenure.
Judge my tenure. So, Do you want to just briefly explain what Judge My Tenure is?
Yes, so we ask questions to do with the Doctor, and we explain why the Doctors are good, or if they're bad, and if in any way they are good or bad.
Okay. So
Today we're on
Doctor.
the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker.
Can I give you my answer?
Yes, yes.
In 2 words.
Yes,
Tom Baker.
there's another answer to that in 2 words. Jelly baby.
I grew up with Tom Baker. Tom Baker would have been for a big chunk of my childhood. Probably, if you think of the sort of age that you are now,
Yeah.
Tom Baker was my Doctor at that age,
Yeah.
And when did he finish?
He finished in 1981.
So 1981. So I would have been 10 when he finished. So it would have been Peter Davison when I was your age. But there or thereabouts. For the time, like if you think about how important Doctor Who was for you from about the age of about 7 or 8, something like that. Tom Baker would have been the only Doctor I'd known in all that time. And let's face it, he had some classic episodes in that period.
Talons of Weng Chiang, Robots of Death, City of Death, Robot. Most of them involve death and robot. Invisible Enemy, Hand of Fear.
I'll tell you the other thing. I think if you asked 10 people to draw Doctor Who, 7 at least would draw Tom Baker.
He is the most famous and enigmatic Doctor.
I think when you think that he wasn't the first one, most people will always look at the first of anything as being the best.
Or the most recent.
Yeah, I think that Tom Baker just basically stole Doctor Who and has never really given it back.
Since Day of the Doctor, he came back.
He did come back. And that actually was why, that's probably single-handedly the reason why Day of the Doctor is my favourite Doctor Who episode of all time, is for that sequence.
Yeah.
And it's got great things about it, like the Zygons and stuff, but the fact that Tom Baker comes in, it's a moment that, I don't know about you, Lou.
Yeah.
With me, I just, all my arms are all sort of like sort of goose pimply, because it was just such an exciting moment.
I mean, I was in the cinema and it was quite loud then.
Yeah.
And I think that episode was in 3D. I don't know.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was exciting because did you know that it was Tom Baker's voice first of all?
I did. It wasn't straight away. It was. He started
I
talking.
noticed it straight away.
Did you? I didn't know. It's just stupid because, as I say, I thought, his voice, his voice. Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? And then it suddenly dawned on me who it was, and all of a sudden, all the hairs on my arms stood up on end. And it was a beautiful moment.
Yeah,
so
lovely.
if you were to think of his actual main tenure, what makes Tom Baker the best classic Doctor, in your opinion?
Well, he's such a classic Doctor because he gave lots of great performances. He had classic episodes, and the reason why they're classic episodes because of him. Yeah.
His eyes. No one. But then that when we talked earlier on about similarities between Peter Capaldi and Tom Baker, one of them is their eyes.
I know. At the end of Time the Doctor, Peter Capaldi's like this, and at the beginning of Robot, Tom Baker's like this.
Staring. Don't remember. No one can actually see you do that.
Yes, I know they can.
Staring. Okay, let's go through the usual sort of questions then that we talk about.
No, well, bad things. Is there anything bad?
I think the only thing you could say is possibly bad about Tom Baker is that maybe he was there for longer than some people would think is right for a Doctor.
I mean,
but you can't say that's bad.
It isn't bad, and it isn't his fault in that matter. It's just that his last 2 series weren't as they were still good, but they weren't as good as his first 5.
Would you say? I mean, I don't know the answer to this. You might know. You might not. Did Tom Baker choose to leave Doctor Who, or did they say to him, "We probably want to move on and have a new Doctor now"?
No, I think Peter Davidson was in need of a job or something.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I think. I think they obviously had it in mind, but they wanted a younger Doctor, didn't they? But we'll come on to.
Oh yeah, I know what it was. It was John Nathan Turner's new turn on Doctor Who. I was getting confused with Tom Baker wanting a job when it was John Pertwee.
Is that right?
And,
is that how he got it?
And he wanted a new generation of Doctor Who, JNT, when he started. So he got Nyssa, he got Tegan, and he got Adric, and he got a new Doctor.
Yeah.
And he started this new generation of Doctor Who, which actually was the best generation of Doctor Who, to be honest.
Do you think, one of the best things about Tom Baker is his voice.
I know.
And that's what made that bit in the Day of the Doctor so powerful. Because he got his voice come through. But he just had such a commanding voice, didn't he? And in fact, after he finished Doctor Who, and again, you probably don't even know this because you're too young, but he did a programme for children's television called Book Tower, I think it was, or something like that. And he just used to read books and talk about books in that voice of his. And who wouldn't want to have books read to them by Tom Baker?
No, I would.
If you can have a second dad, i.e. Tom Baker, that comes in and reads your stories occasionally, but you'd love that, wouldn't you?
I know, it would be great.
Yeah.
There's this great picture on YouTube on the Big Finish account on one of their videos, and it's just Peter Capaldi with a great smile, and he's got that great smile that he has on him. You know?
Yeah.
When there's that classic picture from like Destiny of the Daleks or something, when he's smiling and he's got big eyes, remember? Yeah.
What do you think? Should we go on to a few different other bits about?
Yes, okay.
So we normally talk a bit about the companions.
So do you want to talk about that first?
Yeah.
Should we order the companions?
Yeah, okay.
Have you seen an episode of all of the companions?
I think so. Can you just quickly run through who all the companions are?
Sarah Jane?
Yep.
Leela?
Woo.
K9?
Yep.
Mark 1, I mean. K9 Mark 2? Romana 1?
Yeah.
Romana 2?
Yeah.
Adric?
Yeah.
Nyssa?
Yeah.
Tegan?
Okay. Well, let's ignore Tegan because she's only in one episode, and let's ignore K9 because he's there. We'll talk about K9 in a bit. But if you were talking about just his female companions, and Adric,
should we include Nyssa?
Yeah, she's in more than one, isn't she?
Yeah.
In a few.
Yeah, she's in 2.
Okay. I'll tell you mine in a reverse order. Bottom would be Adric. Second from bottom would be Romana 1. Third from bottom would be Nyssa. Fourth would be Romana. Fifth, Sarah Jane. Sixth, Leela. As in Leela's my favourite. So
I'd have last Adric. Fifth, Nyssa. Fourth, Romana 1. Third, Romana 2. Second, Leela. First, Sarah Jane.
Yeah. I think probably a lot of people would have that order actually, but I like Leela. So there, and no one can stop me. He had really strong companions actually, didn't he?
Romana 1, Nyssa and Adric are the bottom half. They're a bit more boring than the other companions.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Romana 2, Leela and Sarah Jane had a bit of excitement to them. What about Harry?
I mean, you got to include Harry. I forgot about Harry. Harry would probably come just after Sarah Jane for me. It'd probably be at the top would be Leela, Sarah Jane, and Harry.
Okay.
And then Romana 2.
No, I think it would go in the top 4 as Sarah Jane Top, Leela, Romana 2, Harry.
So if you were looking at monsters, I mean, we sort of said that Daleks introduced obviously with William Hartnell. Sidemen, although they were introduced with William Hartnell, were very much Patrick Troughton.
I know not what's number 1.
3, you'd have very much around the Master.
Mm.
What about 4? What's the pivotal villain?
I'm not going with pivotal, I'm going with my favourite.
Okay.
So my favourite villain from the era is the Zygons.
Yeah, mine too.
Pivotal.
Would it be
Sontarans.
Davros, maybe?
Sontarans.
You think Sontarans?
Yeah, because they. Oh wait.
I would
Davros,
do Davros just
actually, yeah.
because it was the 4th that introduced Davros.
No, I'd put him second if you would do that.
Because the Sontarans came in first with John Pertwee, did they?
Yeah, I'd go Daleks, Sidemen. No, I mean Daleks, Sontarans.
Mhm.
What was our other one? Master.
Yeah.
No, Master before Sontarans.
So-
Before Sontarans.
If you were to recommend to somebody the best 4th Doctor episode to watch, not only in terms of being the best story, it doesn't have to be the best story, but if you wanted
Most
to,
enjoyable.
if you wanted to give somebody an episode to sort of say, this to me is the 4th Doctor, what would you recommend?
First up, the best is probably Talons.
That's my favourite.
Mm.
Although actually, it's funny, wasn't it? We were watching that video of Batman March the other day, as we often do, and he said that he thought that was a bit overrated, didn't he? He said it was a good episode, but he thought it was an overrated episode. I don't at all. It's actually, to me, the best classic Who episode.
Mm. I don't know what's my
And
favourite.
do you know, actually, we were talking earlier on about episodes that we'd love to come up in the randomizer.
Yeah.
And I've given a few things that I'd love to see. I actually want to see Terror of the Zygons.
Is that the
Because-
Tom Baker one you'd most like to see?
Yeah, I think so, because I loved it when I was a kid, and I don't remember it very well. And I've not seen it. You've obviously seen it
Yeah.
more recently, but I haven't. And I would love to see that one.
Mm. It is a good one.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's my answer.
So is that the one that's most Tom Bakery?
No, I would go for either Talons or Genesis and Daleks.
Yeah.
I might go for Genesis actually for being the one to recommend to people because it introduces Davros, it introduces the Daleks. It's the first time that Tom Baker met the Daleks.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. And also, it was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Genesis of the Daleks is 40 years old.
Yeah.
Is it really?
there's that great scene at the end of part 5 when the Doctor has to choose between his companions and letting out secrets to make of the Daleks' weaknesses.
Oh, right. Okay.
And that's an exciting scene.
Oh. So is it? What was the? Was that in the first series of Tom Baker's?
Yeah.
Okay.
His
What's the
first
best-
series was great.
Is that the best series? Do you think of Tom Baker? If you would, what is his best series?
Yeah, probably his first series because it's got Robot, Ark in Space, Sontaran Experiment,
Mhm.
not Terror of the Zygons, Genesis, and Revenge as the segment.
So how many was Sarah Jane in with him?
She was in 2.5 series.
Okay. So Leela came in halfway through a series.
Yeah.
That seemed to happen quite a lot in the old days, didn't it?
Right, usually in the Patrick Troughton ones, the companion, or William Hartnell ones, the companions came in like the last episode of the series.
Right. Okay.
Or at the most peculiar time that you should have a companion.
So what else have we got to say in Judge My Tenure this week?
Let's think through questions.
We're quite some way through actually through the show, aren't we? Actually.
What do you think? Any other questions?
Well, what I will say is that he had a great look as well, didn't he?
Yes.
The whole thing with the big scarf.
Yeah.
the curly hair.
Great.
You know, everything about his image was just brilliant, wasn't it? Scarf, the curly hair, the eyes, the big long coat. You know, the voice. It's just classic, isn't it? Vote Tom Baker.
What about out of 10?
Out of 10, he's a 10 for me.
Okay.
He's
This is hard for me.
he is the best Doctor, and however good Peter Capaldi is, I don't think he can ever compare. Just because Tom Baker is my Doctor.
Yeah.
I've judged your tenure, Tom, and I've given you a 10.
Thank you for doing it. Great.
So next week on this section, have we finished that?
Yes, we have.
Next week we'll be talking about the 5th Doctor,
Peter Davidson.
Pete Davidson, which is quite a change for Doctor Who, I think. It's
Yeah.
a very important change.
John Nathan Turner's like first proper Doctor.
Okay.
Mm.
So, brings us on to the next
Okay.
section of the show,
Yes.
which is probably Waters of Mars.
Yes. Okay.
So do you want to explain how we
Yeah.
arrived at it?
Well, last week we clicked the randomizer, as we usually do, which is an Excel sheet with every episode of Doctor Who. And we clicked it, and it came up with the episode Waters of Mars for us to watch, which is the 10th Doctor episode, which starred Dave Tennant as the 10th Doctor and Lindsay Duncan as Adelaine Brooke.
Okay. So, shall I give a
Yes.
very brief sort of explanation of the
Yes.
story?
Go on.
Okay, Doctor arrives on Mars. There's basically, I think, what is leading up to being the first colony in space from Earth,
Yeah.
which Adelaide's leading on, together with a group of, was it 8 of them?
9.
Nine of them. And the Doctor arrives there. He's talking to the crew, and he suddenly realizes that he's arrived there on the day they all die. Which is a real change of him, because he knows that this is a real moment in time that cannot be changed.
And also, the surprising thing about this episode is that it begins with it actually telling you they die.
Yeah, do you know, I think in a way that's my favourite thing about it, is that straight away he's talking to these people and you get the screen flash up with the thing, died 2059. And each character dies 2059. And you think, well, they're all still alive at the moment, so something's going to happen to them all, either a single event or one-off event. And he can't change it because it's a fixed point in time, because actually her death, Adelaide, is it Adelaide?
Yeah.
Her death is such a big, important moment that means that her granddaughter then goes up into space herself and leads, and then sort of like the whole thing of other colonies of humans in going up into space and starting off new life, new civilizations up there. So if you were to actually stop her death, would that have ever happened? So the Doctor's actually haunted by that thought. And what actually happens on it is that they tap into the water. Basically, is infected because due to a faulty filter, and the flood, this sort of alien virus in a way, which seems to be sort of like the way of this Martian virus of trying to get to Earth, takes over, and you've got these great aliens that sort of spit water, drip water, skins all cracking up. Really cool, aren't they?
Yeah.
And there we have it. That's a basic rundown of the actual.
Yeah, without spoiling anything.
Without spoiling
properly.
anything,
Well, we did spoil the thing about the death.
Yeah, but that happened so early on. I think it's important to mention that. What did you make of it?
Well, it's a good and interesting episode. I just want to ask you. Well, I personally prefer it to Into the Dalek, which is Phil Ford's most recent episode.
Me
Do
too.
you?
Yeah. I think actually, for all the times where I've had a moan about David Tennant's Doctor, I'll say two things about this. Firstly, what I can't argue with is that some of the best episodes in New Who are 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
I think Waters of Mars ranks up there behind Blink, behind Family of Blood. Possibly next, though. Either that or Midnight. I'm not sure between the two of them. I love both of those. But it's a great episode. But the other point I was going to make, and I always mention that F word, the foppish word. I don't think the Doctor was foppish at all. Part of the reason is because he didn't have a foppish companion.
No.
I think he's at his most foppish when he's with Donna.
Yes.
And
then
Rose. They just seem to be annoying together, I think, the two of them.
Yeah.
He's not here. And actually, you could say that he's a bit smug. At the end, he's very smug, isn't it? And
The
backfires
time
a little
of
bit, but-
Victorious.
Yeah. He's very smug on it. And you could do a good slap. But he actually, I think it's one of David Tennant's finest hours.
Yeah.
As the Doctor.
Me too. I think it's one of his best performances.
So what do you think in terms of the monster?
Well, I think it's a really cool monster, and it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because everything really, well, a lot of things are made out of water, and a lot of things contain water, like food and drinks.
Yeah.
And rivers.
And the fact that water can get to pretty much anything.
Yeah,
Now, I
that's
can tell you
it,
this. I can tell you this now that I once had a problem with my boiler, and I looked the night before, and I looked and there's a very small drip of water on the carpet. And I thought, oh, I wonder what I've spilled. Don't do that. And then in the morning, I got up, and my carpet was completely flooded. And that is how quickly and how devastating water can be. It can destroy whole buildings. Water can.
Yeah, it can.
So
Very powerful.
It is, and
More powerful than you think a liquid could be.
and it only needs the slightest of cracks to be able to get through, as we find out in this episode.
Yes.
So actually, I don't know how many stories we've watched so far on the randomizer. Can you move off the top of your head?
Like 17 or 18 or something.
It sits for me. The only episode better than it that we've watched so far is Caves of Androzani. It's my second favourite that we've watched.
Okay. Even better than. Is it better than the first two parts of Hand of Fear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. I think
Yes.
it's one of my favourites. Yeah.
Okay,
The
so.
pace of it's good. The relationships between the various characters is really good.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good 10th Doctor performance.
Adeline is a good character.
Yeah. Really good. I'd definitely recommend it. In fact, I would say if you wanted to watch a 10th Doctor episode, which gave you a good idea of him as a Doctor, this is probably the best one. Because although it falls behind Blink and it falls behind Family of Blood is not really the Doctor.
No.
Blink is hardly in it. I would recommend this one.
That's why we like them so
Yeah, it
much.
probably is. Yeah, but I think it's probably his best episode.
Performance.
Yeah.
Scores?
I'd give it a 10 actually.
Overall.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't meant to say that yet, was I?
No. But it's alright. Character development.
I think I'd give it about a 7 for that. I don't think there's a significant character
Because
development.
people die and it's just one-off characters.
Yeah. I think the characters are very strong. I think if the question was around strength of characters, I think the Adelaide character coming to terms with the fact that she's got to die, I think it's really strong.
Yeah. Monster.
It's a good 10, I think. One of the best New Who monsters.
And the coolest. Excitement.
Exciting. It's got slow moments, but I'd say 9.
And pace.
Really good pace. It matches really well the slower elements with the excitement. I would give it a 9.
Okay.
So it's a very high scoring one for me
Yes,
this week.
it is.
Very high score.
Very high.
Would you disagree with any of that?
Don't think so. I think it's about right.
Definitely recommend watching that, folks.
I think I'd give it a high 9 overall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's that point.
Ooh.
Now that we've talked about the randomizer, but we actually go to the randomizer.
Yes.
Have you enabled macros and things
Yes.
already? So it's time to press that button. Will we get something that we can watch first up?
Okay.
Okay, it goes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is quite coincidental actually because
Okay, wait a minute.
we
Let me
were
write
first
that
up.
down.
First up, we got the Pirate Planet, and we only watched that a couple of weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah, we got loads of missing episodes and episodes we haven't got from the first Doctor.
Yeah.
Luckily, we get. Okay.
Okay, so we got. You're going to introduce what we got?
Genesis of the Daleks.
Which is great. We just talked about that. It wasn't that long ago we watched the first episode of Genesis of the Daleks.
Yeah.
We only watched the first one. I'm really excited about that,
You
folks.
do.
I'm excited about that. Genesis of the Daleks. Be
So
here
will it
next
take
week.
us 2 weeks?
How many stories is it? How many?
6.
6. Yeah, it'll probably be a 2-weeker.
Okay. No randomizer pressing next week
Oh,
for you.
that's a shame, isn't it?
Not Dubai. No, Genesis, that's a good episode.
It's good.
Mm.
It's good.
And you'll get to see that classic scene.
Fantastic. Which brings us on to that moment of the show that people look forward for.
We go on to quiz or question.
Quiz or question.
Dun 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 dun. Our conclusion to the show.
So people look forward for this for 2 reasons. One, because they like the whole idea of quiz or question, and also because they get to hear you going dud 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 and doing your theme tune. You're not going to do it today.
No, not the full theme tune. You just got a snippet.
A snippet.
I was calling it a snippet from him.
So, quiz or question.
Okay,
So have we got some, first of all?
which episodes of Doctor Who or other spin-offs did Phil Ford write? Was the question.
Okay, so this is obviously sparked by the
Quiz
fact that we
question.
had Walks of Mars. Quiz or question? It's a question because there's a right or wrong answer. I know 2.
Well, it's a quiz, isn't it?
A quiz, sorry, yeah, that's what I meant to
Yes,
say.
a quiz.
Quiz. I know 2. I don't know whether he's written any more.
Mhm.
He's written Waters of Mars, we watched today, and Into the Dark.
He's written some Sarah Jane.
Okay.
I think he wrote. Let's think. I think he wrote Curse of Clyde Langer.
Did he? Yes, that's a classic Sarah Jane one, isn't it?
There are some good Sarah Jane. He's written most of the Sarah Jane ones.
Did he?
Mm.
He did Wizards vs. Aliens, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he wrote most of them.
Not that that's a Doctor Who tie-in, but
Mm.
obviously still a sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still a bit like it.
But only the 2 Who episodes. Is he due to write anything in the new series, do we know?
It's not confirmed,
Okay.
but it could be.
Okay.
Which writer from the classic series would you most like to come back? Quiz or question?
That's a question.
Question.
Because there's no right or wrong answer, although I'm going to go for... Well, you go first.
Now, I know he can't come back because he's dead. Robert Holmes.
I would say Robert Holmes too.
Now, he can't come back because he's dead,
Yeah,
but he's written some classics like Talon's Pointer and Pyramids of Mars, Spearhead from Space, Caves of Androzani, The Two Doctors, The Ultimate Foe. You name the best classic episodes, he's written.
But I guess probably it'd be difficult for a classic series, classic writer to come back. Because probably a lot of them have died now.
Writers that aren't dead. Well, what?
You know, the ones that are the crappy Sylvester McCoy's series are probably still with us in the film.
Jane Baker died recently.
Yes.
And Writer of Survival, that would be quite interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Ben Average, whatever it's called, he wrote Remembrance. And Battlefield, which I haven't watched.
Okay. Do we have others?
What is your favourite line from Doctor Who? Was the question.
whatever. It's a question.
Question.
I know it, but I can't remember exactly what the line is. But you will.
What is it?
It's that bit in Dare the Doctor and Tom Baker.
Oh, who knows? Like,
What was the first line he said
um,
when he first comes in?
oh, I rather think you might.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it that. I rather think you might. Is it just because it was such a great moment? Would you argue with that or not?
No, I wouldn't. But I don't know what I'd choose. But that is one of the greatest moments and one of the greatest lines we've ever seen.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, there have been some great lines, haven't there? I mean, there's some great, you know, like the William Hartnell bit. You know,
Yeah.
I will come back. And of course, the classic Patrick Troughton, no, no!
And there's the catchphrases like, would you like a jelly baby?
Yeah.
And reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. And the last line ever of the classic series.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Fantastic. Geronimo Alonso, shut up. Lots of lines.
Do we have other quizzes or questions?
How many classic companion actors or actresses are dead?
Ooh, that's a quiz, because there must be a right answer to it. I don't know. I know some.
I know Jacqueline Hill's dead.
Mhm.
Elizabeth Sladen.
Yeah.
They're mostly women. Caroline John.
Yeah.
Mary Tam.
Yeah.
What's
the Brigadier?
Oh yeah, Nicholas Courtney.
Yeah.
The actress of Katrina.
Yeah.
Got a name. Sarah something.
No, I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think that's it.
A few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad, really. But there's no men, I don't think, that are dead.
But I guess the thing is, there's been less men companions, so I guess the
Oh, yeah.
law of averages would suggest that's why.
William Russell, I think, is about 90 now.
Is he?
Mm.
Yeah. So, next question.
But Jacqueline Hill died when she was only 63.
Well, that's very sad, isn't it? It's sad.
How would you have ended Classic Who? Was the question.
That's a question, because there's no right or wrong answer. I wouldn't have.
But if you had to.
If I had to. Okay, so if the TV people said, well, it doesn't matter, you can argue as much as you like, it ain't coming back on. I probably would have ended it with the Doctor getting into the TARDIS and saying, come, Ace. There's plenty more adventures for us to have than them disappearing off.
I'd go, I've had enough of this.
I don't know. See, I think it left it very much open for the stories to be carried on in other ways, like through the radio shows.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, the audio books. So I don't actually know how Survival did end. Do you know? Have you watched the end of Survival? Or did it
yeah,
just
I've
end?
watched the end. I've watched the end.
Did it give really an indication that it was going to finish, or did it just finish like any other episode?
It said, Ace, we've got work to do.
Yeah, see, I think that's quite a good way of ending it, actually.
Yeah. So, finally, what would you do in a Doctor Who movie?
Okay.
Cast, crew, monsters, Doctor, and storyline are in brackets. Where's the question?
It's a question.
Question.
Okay.
You had the thing about the 8th Doctor, didn't you?
I would still stick with that. I would have the 8th Doctor in it.
What monster would you have him face?
I would have him facing a very scary Sidemen. I would have the Sidemen in it, but I would make them really creepy.
Yeah. Storyline?
Difficult to say. I think maybe I would have it basically around the Doctor trying to come to terms with the Time War that's about to kick off, and the fact that he needs to basically man up and help Gallifrey.
Companions.
A new one. I'll have a completely new companion.
And would you get Robert Holmes to write it if he was still alive then?
I'd get Stephen Moffat to write it.
Okay. But
Yeah.
he probably wouldn't do it.
No, I don't know. I don't think he'll. I don't know. This is fantasy stuff. I'd have Moffat writing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would give it quite a dark edge.
Okay.
I think what would happen is it would be a big sci-fi blockbuster with lots of special effects.
What if he meets Peter Capaldi?
I would rather he didn't. I would rather they separated it from the current series. What do you think?
Yeah, but I don't think they should do it like a completely new Doctor.
Yeah. No, I don't either. Yeah.
That's just stupid.
Yeah. So there we have it. Quiz or question finished. Podcast finished.
Podcast.
We'll be here again next. Oh, tell me what we ought to just say.
Yes.
Didn't you have a little bit of news?
Yes, I did. We've got the confirmed date for the new Miss Livery series.
And it is
29th of August.
29th of August. Filming's underway. We're some way through.
Yes.
We should be with you shortly with it.
Almost finished book 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, next week, what do we have next week?
We have the our review on the first 3 parts of Princess of the Dark.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Yes. We have our Judge My Tenure on the 5th Doctor.
We do. We have news.
Yes, hopefully there'll be lots.
We have views.
Yes. We have Who to Face.
Who to Face. For those who remember it. Yeah.
And we won't be pressing the randomizer.
We won't be pressing the randomizer. Hopefully you still want to join us.
Yes, hopefully.
So we'll see you next week.
See you next week. And remember, there will be some videos on the show notes on the website, misslizme.weebly.com.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.